Welcome to the Expansion Pack Podcast, a show where we unlock the world through story. There's no cheat codes or restarts in life, but we can learn from one another to expand the world around us. So gear up, press start, and dive in. All right. Hey, thank you for joining us. I am your host, TK Johnson. You'll hear people call me by many names, Caitlin, KP, TK. But as an author and lover of stories, I knew that I needed to meet more people who were different than me in order to write better. And I know very little of the world, and I found myself living around the same kind of people all the time. So I want to hear the stories of others and experiences that have been different than mine. So today I'm here with STIXX, aka, and correct me if I say this wrong because I don't know
What's
languages.
up?
Conejo, is that right?
Yeah,
All
yep, that's
right.
right. What's
STIXX,
up, sis?
you're a musician, a producer, DJ, artist, speaker. You do so much, and those words
Mm,
cover so many different things. And I know that you've been touring, you've been busy with concerts and shows over
hmm
the past few days and weeks. So thank you for taking time. I know you said
Yeah,
that you like just got home. So
yeah. A few days ago, I'll be
yeah.
leaving tomorrow again.
Oh gosh, man. So thank you
Yeah.
for taking a break to join me today and help tell your story. And I don't know much of your story, so this will be the first time of me hearing it too a little bit. But we
Mm,
want to talk about your upbringing, what got you into music. I know that you don't just share music because you want to be famous, making millions of dollars for your beats.
oh,
You share music with a message. So I want to dive into that. But let's start with something easy, hopefully. What
yeah,
is Conejo? How did that come about? Why are you STIXX, aka Conejo?
yeah. So I get this one a lot. So conejo is basically like a translation of bunny.
Mm,
And it was like my nickname growing up.
okay.
Like my parents, yeah, it was just my parents' nickname.
Nice.
Um, it was nothing too much. It's not really like a big story behind it. It's more so just me growing up. It was like something, like another parent would just give their baby a
Hmm.
nickname, and they never stopped saying it. So we
Yep,
just
yep.
kept it and rolled with it. And if anything, like I kind of like it now.
That's
And my
awesome. Yeah.
parents, of course, my parents are happy I still use it. So
Mm. And it's become
yeah,
almost like a brand for you. Like I've seen it on your
yeah,
clothes. You have it embroidered and stitched on your clothes. Like it's
yeah.
part of your artist brand now.
Yeah,
What
I
about
really wanna soak in what I was, raised in. You know what I
mm,
mean? And like
definitely.
continue it and not just like push it away for
Yeah.
sure.
What about the name STIXX
So
with
yeah,
two X's,
sticks.
by the way? For those just
Mhm.
listening, this is STIXX with two X. Yeah.
Right. Not no stick branch. Because trust me, like it actually while I was on tour, just side story, while I was on tour, um, one of the production team people kept writing like sticks, like CKS, like on my little pack for my in-use to perform. And it's like I had to tell him by the end of the whole tour, I was just like, hey man, this is how you spell it. He felt so bad, but
Oh.
it happens. It happens a lot. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But yeah, so sticks was just given to me kind of naturally just from performing and touring. Actually, the first person that really started calling me that was Kiwi. His name is Kiwi Morris. We work with
mm,
him too. So
mhm.
yeah, it happened naturally. It wasn't really given to me, which is cool because not that it's bad that artists make their own artist names and all that, but I think it's a lot more organic and a lot more natural when it's just like given to you. So yeah, that's kind of how that
Definitely.
happened. I was a drummer first before anything else, so
Hmm.
it makes sense.
Definitely, yeah. So you started as a drummer, but tell us a little bit about your upbringing. I think I guess I never even said this, but you are a Latino who is a Christ follower. You are an artist in every form of that word, really.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about your upbringing, why you use the message that you use in your music.
Yeah, that's a packed question, but um, to be honest, like, well, okay, I guess I can go back just like a quick summary of my story. I was born in Guanajuato, Mexico, um, and came over here with my parents at the age of 2 or 3, and we were in Texas for like 2 years, and then we moved to Michigan when I was like 5. I lived in Michigan for about like I'm gonna say like 5 years, but unfortunately, over time, just things weren't working out with my family, with my parents. My dad was a like he's an addict to alcohol, and um, yeah, that really that just took over the family, took over their relationship and their marriage, my parents' marriage, and they were just like they called it off, and so they got divorced. When they got divorced, I moved back to Mexico with my mom. My dad stayed here. Uh, and so throughout the year, actually, my dad found God. He found his that story is like insane how he even found God. That's a whole nother story, to be honest. That would take forever. But yeah, that was crazy how that happened. But essentially, my dad found God during the year. And when I was in Mexico, of course, I was just dealing with a lot because I was so young. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what it meant, what was going on. And especially when another guy came around into my mom's life, it was all very confusing. So I think that as a child, I didn't really know what to process and what to do. So um, because I wasn't happy and I did miss most of my parents, I was starting to, you could say, rebel in a sense, just like any young kid would at that age, dealing with something like that so tragic. So yeah, things weren't going well in Mexico. Things in school were bad. I was doing bad, getting into fights. I was not doing good. And so, yeah, about, I want to say 9 months into school, I was in third grade. 9 months into that, my mom was just like, um, it's not going good for you over here. I don't think that it's right for you to be here. So she called my dad to figure something out, and I ended up coming back. But yeah, and then from when I came back, it was all crazy. It was just all like it was a big change because my dad now was Christian, and he, you know, everything was just so different. It was just me and him. Even when I came, it started to get better, but it was still hard because now my mom was on the other side of the, you know, whole other country, um, and so, but things did get better, and I feel like it was because my dad started taking me to church, and I started to get to know God. I found Him, and my life really did shift, from a different perspective, and I saw the world differently. And yeah, so from then, so much of the story. I don't remember all of it. um, from then, um, after, so yeah, my dad was, so yeah. One key thing of this whole thing is that I feel like from when my parents got divorced to like the time, I want to say, of like ninth grade or 10th grade, I dealt with a lot of like loneliness, you could say, because from having the rejection of like feeling that from my parents, from like me being with one and then switching, but also because my mom, for example, when I lived in Mexico, like she was working a lot, never saw her. And then on the opposite, when I came back here, it was the same with my dad. My dad was working a lot here. I wouldn't see him in school. I mean, I would just be in school and I wouldn't see him because I'd get back from school. And it was just like, hello. And so, yeah. So,
So
so
what really took your life from, you bounced around a lot. I didn't realize that you had lived in Mexico for a little while again. What what got you into music? What part of your life really led you so strongly into that you made a career out of it?
yeah, no, so um, the thing with music is it's generational in my family, right? It's really crazy. So it's from my dad's dad, my dad's dad. So like later my great grandpa, my grandpa, my dad, and then it passed on to me. Um, how that happened though was when I did come back from Mexico to live with my dad again after I was living in Mexico for the second time. Um, my dad started playing at a church, and at this church it was just him There was nobody else. There was maybe like a 20, person church, very small church, Spanish church. And I remember my dad asking me like, hey, like we would definitely love, a musician here to play with me because it was just him. He would just play keys and he would just sing. And stuff was just, it was hard for him. So I saw that and I just automatically wanted to help, even though I didn't actually know music at that time, but I knew it was generational. It's like, you know what? I think that it would be cool. It really wasn't anything that like, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with music yet. At this point, it really wasn't. It was just, it was just something that I just felt called to just starting and helping out my dad. So he taught me the basics on the drums, and then for about, I think about 6 months, I just learned from him. And after that, I just taught myself. Like I would watch videos on YouTube from some of my inspirations, like Matt Greiner, Eric Moore, uh, so many more. And I would just watch other drummers like at places that I would like. Okay, I see how you're playing, and I would just like kind of study people. And I developed, I feel like, my own sound from just playing and performing. And so that took me from that church. And then I have a friend. His name is Enoch Alvarez. His parents are worship leaders at a church in Holland, Michigan, and they got me connected into a bigger church. And they loved how I played. They had me audition. That was actually my first like audition ever. I was like, I think I want to say 13, 14 years old.
And that's nerve-wracking. Auditions are
It was
scary.
very scary,
Yeah.
especially because I was a very shy kid. I was dealing with a lot of stuff, and I think that I had become very shy and very like introverted. So I remember doing the audition. I didn't know how I did. I just did what I knew, but everybody loved it. Like they're like, "Yo, we would love for you to play on the main sanctuary on a Sunday or something." And I'm like, "This is awesome!" So I took it, and after a year or two of doing that, I actually got connected to the Edge Church um, through the Alvarezes, which were the people that got me into that church in Holland in general. So they moved to Grand Rapids, and then they would bring me out every Saturday because back then the Edge used to have Saturday services. So they brought me to the Edge. It's a hip hop church. It's a gospel. It's like we're based in the urban community, which is where I met Kiwi Morris. I met Stephen Malcolm, Beacon Light, George Moss, all of these artists, that I had heard of, but I'm just like, what is going on? you know, I felt like I don't know. I just felt like an outcast because they were all like, to me as a kid, I'm like, these
Mhm.
people are like celebrities. You know what I mean?
They
Um,
are, and now they're like household names too,
yeah,
so many
yeah.
people know them, and you're right up there with them now, playing
So
music with them, producing their tracks. Yeah.
it's amazing, how life works and how God works. Because yeah, from that, if I would have never taken the step to just be faithful and just try something out, I don't think I would have never found my gift, you know, which was music, which has now been leading to ministry in general through whatever I do. So that was kind of how I got into the music industry. It's very wild, but it took, I feel like it took a lot of my story and a lot of impact on my life in order for me to, you know, to shift to that, to learn, and to want to pursue something, I guess, because I don't think I wanted to stay down here,
Hmm.
when my life was down here. I feel like as I was growing older, there was so much that I had to go through as such a young kid that I was maturing quicker but I didn't want to stay down here, you know. And so when I found God, I felt like a pull from Him, but also a pull from my family to push and to grow and to learn something, to find something. And it just took faith, to be honest, because people ask me like, how did I get where I'm at? And I'm only 21 still. I'm still not where like I think I'm gonna be or can be, and it's crazy to think that because I already feel like I'm here. It's like, oh, this is it. This is all I get. But it's like I forget I'm young. I'm so young still. I'm not super young, but I'm still young. So it's just crazy how that all
Yeah.
works.
Man, I didn't
It's
realize you
been
were that
awesome.
young either. Yeah, 21 is you're still just kicking off.
Just kicking off. Yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds like, I mean, just through everything you've been through in life, there is a knowledge and a wisdom and maturity that that definitely has come for you a lot faster than most 21-year-olds.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah, I
So
appreciate that.
what is the main message that you usually are trying to get across in the music you create? And this is a hard question because you create music in different ways, like music
Yeah,
that you produce, that you're still a drummer, you're
yeah.
an artist and a speaker, like you have so many aspects of one song that you're a part of. But
Mhm.
what are the messages that you're always trying to get through with any music, any track that you get to put your hands on?
Yeah. Um, yeah, that is it's a big question, but I feel like in general, even when I'm just producing on a track and I don't have a say on the lyrics, like my end goal, to be honest, is to hopefully be able to be a light in like dark places, wherever I'm going. I hope that if it's me just being in the studio and being present, if it's me being a producer on the track, if it's me actually writing on the track, I just want hopefully for people to see something different in me than other people. Of course, if it's with other artists that are Christian too, they see it in general. But if it's ever with like somebody that isn't, that they can still see and feel that difference. But hopefully not just that, and that's not just the end. I hope that's the spark, but I also hope that at the end I'm able to tell them of something, that's greater, that's out there, that it's there for them, that has been there for them, and hopefully just be somebody that can just spread love to the people. um, because I think we need more of that, you know what I mean. In this world, I feel like we need more love, we need more grace, we need more unconditional love, not just any love, because I think that the world's view on love is so toxic now. It's just sad to just be sad now, you know what I mean. And so that's, I think my end goal is to spread a message of love, to spread a message of encouragement, and honestly, just to be genuine, like just to keep it 100 and always be real, be transparent. That's why even as I remember just a little bit ago, you were asking me, before we got on, like, hey, is there any questions that would be a little off limits, and it's like, of course, to an extent, yes, but like in reality, like I think that there's so much power in the transparency of somebody when you can just be transparent and tell your story, like because you don't know, you may be talking to somebody else, or somebody else might be hearing this that is literally going through what you went through, right now, and the power I think that we have, like of speaking is so much greater than we think, So I think it's important to get our story out there.
Definitely. And I think that so many people take for granted. I mean, you hear of someone moving from country to country, you hear someone getting into the music industry as, kind of a career, making a living out of doing music. We
Mhm.
forget what really is involved. I did not grow up with a lot of diversity in my neighborhood, in my life. Like
Mhm.
the fact that you speak two languages is absolutely amazing, but then that you can write two different languages, like reading and writing is a whole nother step to learning a language. And then on top of that, you are breaking into this music industry where it is all about really everyone's lyrics. If you look at the top tracks out there, a lot of the times it's all about fame, fortune, the new car,
Right.
the big house, the
Yeah.
women. And to take such a different turn with your talents and to choose to focus on something that will better the world, better people around you. I mean, that's a hard decision to make. But I guess tell me a little bit about the community around you that has supported you in that. Have you had days that are just you're terrified, 'cause especially with COVID, like, how am I gonna make money to live and survive? How am I gonna
Right.
keep doing what I love to do when, it's not an easy thing to be a musician or an artist in,
Oh.
the world lately.
For sure. No, I tell this to a lot of people that even want to start doing this. It's like, for one, like just to be real, it's very lonely road. Um, Honestly, for any creative, this is for if you want to be a musician, if you want to be a writer, if you want to be an artist, like you want to draw art, you want to be a graphic designer, whatever it is. It's a lonely road, but I think that it doesn't have to be. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing, is that we run into so much like pride nowadays. Everybody wants to just do it on their own, especially like you're saying, the topics and the music now are all like, I did it, you know what I mean? Or like money this, money that, or I hustled. Or it's like, that's cool and all, but it's like not really, you know? So the biggest thing, yeah, for me was when I did realize this because I had to learn this that what I'm saying now. So I hope somebody else hears this and is just starting or like in the beginning stages where they can use this and apply it. But I decided to put down my pride, um, which is hard nowadays as any person, to be honest. But put down my pride and I said, you know what, I want to seek people like me or other creatives where I can, which for me was the Edge Church, where a lot of creatives were there, where there was a lot of people. And I decided to just put down my pride and serve them. And how can I serve them? Which was first just drumming for free for like 3 years, um, helping them with their merch or, hey, can I, produce a beat for you? Do you need a beat for your album? I can do that for you. Stuff like that, but also like, um, I think that was my biggest community, honestly, like growing up, and it still is. But over time, I've reached out to like different community of people, but for different aspects of my life, which is important too. To have somebody or a person or another group of people specifically, maybe for your life, have a group of people for your music or your creative stuff. I think it's important to also categorize it, but it's very important to just start somewhere, and if it's for you, if it's being a creative, then I think that it's super important to find other creatives where you guys can hold each other accountable, support each other, help each other, because the best way to like be a creative and in this time is like doing it as a team. Not even in this time, to be honest. If you look back years ago, like you know, Eminem and on Lil Wayne, all these people they all had their Drake, they all had their Dr. Dre, and they are successful now. But that's because they decided to put down their pride and let somebody else help them, and probably tell them a lot of things they didn't want to hear. Hey, this isn't the greatest song you made, man. Or hey, that verse is cool, but it could be better. Hearing the things that we don't want to hear is the I think the power that a community can do is you can get kind of like sharpened. You know what I mean? So
That's so important. And I think that especially young people looking to get into this field, any kind of creative field, that's
mhm,
hard, especially with the
mm,
way social media has changed how we think. It's
sure.
all about us, it's all about likes and comments and positive affirmations. But the truth is, you have to learn to take criticism. And it feels extremely negative sometimes. It feels like they're telling you didn't do a good job. Maybe you didn't, but that doesn't
Right.
mean someone doesn't like you or they hate what you did. It simply means that's not as good as it could be. You could do better. And usually the person giving that critique, I feel like knows you well enough to say, that's not, like you said, that one verse is good, but it could be better. They're
Yeah.
there to help you sharpen your tools and sharpen, your talent. And I was going to ask you, what is advice that you have for people wanting to get into this career, wanting to become
Yeah.
a creative as they get older? And you've answered that in so many different ways already, but I think that's a huge one. Learn to take criticism, learn to have
Yes.
people around you that won't be yes people, that won't just be like, oh, I love it, but will say, I love this part, but this part, what if you tried
Hmm.
this?
Yeah.
Those little
Yep.
critiques. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
They're
are
so key.
what are some tools, like if we're talking about practical tools like software, instruments, what are tools that someone might need if they want to start becoming a producer or a musician like you do?
Yeah. So I would say if you want to get into the music scene, but as a musician, find what instrument you like or you're interested in. Do not spend thousands of dollars. Don't break a leg to do it. Just start small. Like get a little practice pad if you're gonna be a drummer. You do a pair of sticks for like $15 and a little pad for like $10 and practice. Watch videos. Look, like now we have YouTube, we have Google. Um, literally, you know what I mean? It's all it takes. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on school. I'm not putting down school, but for specifically for music, I don't think that it's a necessity. Um, of course, the more you get into it and the more you dive into it deeper, then you can look at school or then you can look at maybe mentorships, you know. But I would say to start small, look, look for teachers that, or look for maybe if want to be a drummer, there's other drummers that you've been inspired by, study them. Like I studied my favorite drummers. To this day, I still do. you know. Um, if you're looking to be a guitarist, do the same thing. Start with a, a cheaper guitar. Get you a book that helps you, read chords and notes. Um, and for production, that one is just so broad. There's so much for production, but like the biggest thing is, I think that there's like three or four main things, and it's like if you just have headphones, they could just be like any headphone. You know what I mean? Cheap headphones. Get you like a little like $50 mic, um, a little interface, and you don't even need an interface to be honest. Like the way I started was headphones, a little keyboard, and my computer and the software. So it's just it's four things, five things. Um, it
Awesome.
can be any software. To be honest, there's so many out there. There's some free ones actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
start there. Like just start. Be creative, have fun. That's the biggest thing is have fun. Like it doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, I have to, learn this now. It's like, no, have fun with it, and you will learn over time. You know,
Mhm. So let me ask you, do you read sheet music?
I did not.
Okay. Do you
I
read,
don't.
do you know chords? If you saw
I,
like guitar's chords, you can read that.
mhm. I know
Okay.
some, but not all. And that's
Mm-hmm.
actually something I'm actually learning right now. Because now
Mm-hmm.
I've went from, because for drums you don't really need to know all that. Like they're not gonna tell you play an A and you have to hit an A like on the kit. But I think at some point it's important to learn that when you're at a level where you're not playing with other musicians, and you need to be able to be on like at least understand what their language, because you don't want to ever have that barrier, between languages. You have to at least know the basics. It's super key. So
Definitely. And it is. It's like another language. I learned sheet music in high school. I can't remember it now. It's like when learning German or Spanish or French in high school. How much do you really remember if that's
mhm.
not, something you practice every day? But yeah, it is definitely another language. And I guess I asked that because I want to encourage people. You don't have to be able to read all of those different kinds of musics
No.
in order to get into it, in order to start. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
It's
maybe,
awesome.
yeah, maybe people out there have already started. They've got music that they've created, produced, and they're just looking to make connections, get out there.
Mhm.
I know that you are very open to chatting with fans, Kiwi as
Oh yeah.
well. I mean, you guys put out your phone numbers, which blows my mind. You're like, text us, call us, you chat with people on Instagram and social media and Snapchat. And you guys are
Yeah.
always so open to talking to people. So if you're young, or maybe maybe you're older and you're like, you know what, music is
Yeah.
for me,
Yep.
start reaching out to those people that you admire, that you follow, that are making the kind of music you love. They're available. I think people are way more available than we assume that they are. We just assume no one wants to talk
Hmm.
to us about that stuff, but you guys are out
Yep.
there and you're willing. Yeah. Well,
Most definitely.
give us a quick look, because I know you've been touring and doing stuff. Give us a quick look into what your life is like when you're out for a show. You just got back from Wisconsin, you're leaving again tomorrow. What is it
Yeah.
like when you're on the road?
Hectic. It's very hectic. It's very crazy. It's not as okay. Like, yeah, we post the stories and we post the posts of like the event and the show and the lights and the smoke and the crowd. Um, but and that's all. It all happens, obviously. But there's so much more that goes into it. Like it can like because you're on a schedule. You know what I mean? You have to perform at a certain time. You have to sound check at a certain time. You have to be there, present in the venue or at the conference or at the festival, wherever it is that you're performing. It's all scheduled, just like any other job. But people don't realize like even the traveling that it takes to get there. You have to maybe fly, maybe have to, drive 8-10 hours to get to your show, which is most likely the case when you first start. People don't fly you out right away.
Yeah,
So
I think that's the picture people have is, "Ooh, I got books. They're gonna fly me out. I'm gonna get like the nicest hotel downtown. They're gonna
yeah,
chauffeur me or give me like an Uber, someone to chauffeur me around." It doesn't work like that right off the bat.
no, no, it does not. No. And the schedule is crazy. The schedule is crazy. To be honest, it's always go go go. Like Like for example, I'll give you like my past. Um, so last week I left Thursday night. We left Thursday night. We drove, I think it was just 6 hours to Wisconsin because it was just in Wisconsin, and I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So drove 6 hours to Oshkosh. We got to our hotel, unpacked, packed our merch again, and then slept for like maybe 5 hours, and then get back on the road, get to our uh, venue. We set up the merch. We meet the people that are giving us like our credentials. We get our get breakfast. Sometimes you don't even have time to get breakfast, to be honest, but we did get breakfast, set up, sound check, lunch, go back, and then rehearse, and then perform. And then once you're done performing, like it's like not you don't get to rest. You have to tear down everything that you set up, and then you like the cool thing is like this is my favorite part. After all that, everybody's like waiting by the merch table, ready to. They just wanted to meet you, talk to you, and honestly, that's my favorite part. Like so, then we go ahead and walk over to the merchandise table and we just kick it with people. We just hang out. I look at it more like we just fellowship with people. We just tell each other stories. Like I love hearing people's stories or like how they got there, or who they're excited to see, or what they liked of our music. And then of course I get those people that are like also drummers, or they also rap, and it's just amazing to just hear like their stories. So yeah, that's like a day, but as soon as that's over, it's like you on the road again to the next place. And it's the same schedule. So like your sleeping schedule is always gonna suck. Eating is really hard on tour, and eating right mainly is hard on tour because it's like what's quicker? You know what I mean? Can we just like stop by a drive through or whatever? But over time, the cool thing is that over time you do get more you do get more stuff. You do get more benefits of just becoming more known or whatever you could say. So people do sometimes just like they'll look at your contract, and maybe in your contract you have like, hey, I don't we won't eat fast food, but we'll have fruit or something healthier, and they will provide that over time. So the cool thing is like it does happen,
Yeah.
but it takes time.
Well, and I think too, it's important there. I just want to call it out because I've worked in the event industry. My husband is still, he still does live event production. It matters so much that as a musician, you're not like, I played my set, I'm done. I'm
Hmm.
done. I go sit in the van until someone drives me somewhere. No, like you're the one loading in, you're the one loading out. You have to keep your own schedule. You don't always have someone telling you, "Hey, you know what time it is? You better get down to lunch if you want time to eat."
Yeah.
You play
Yep.
all the roles of your own business. And like you
Literally.
said, as you get bigger and do more, there's more that they might help you out with, but it's important to be open to doing all that and having a good attitude too, because man,
Mm-hmm.
when you got someone else running your sound, if you were nasty to that person, they can press mute real quick. They can turn you off. They can make you sound bad.
They
And of
can.
course, they don't want that. It's them doing a bad job too. But
Yeah.
you have to be conscientious of the people around you. And I
Mm-hmm.
know as a drummer, I feel like there's a built-in humbleness because you're not the
Mm.
one right in front on stage. You are
No.
behind everyone supporting them with your beats anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a big thing. Again, our world looks at being a musician like I'm all that. It's a lot of pride, and that's
Mm-hmm.
not what it is. If you want to do well, I mean, you become a servant before anything
Yeah.
else. Even if
Oh
it's
yeah.
just serving your own agenda and being your own business manager and your own labor force, you have to do that in
Exactly.
order to start getting anywhere. Yeah.
No, that's you hit a perfect point that I didn't say earlier, but you have to be willing to serve before you're served.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, STIXX, thank you so much. Again, I know you're so busy, so this has been a pleasure to have you take a break to have this conversation with me. I appreciate it. You are available. Tell us what platforms and your handles that you're available at.
Yeah, so y'all can follow me at Sticks What You Mean. So STIXXWYM. And that's like all my social media. Everything is there, my websites, my tours, my production catalog, my own music. and also my tour dates. Yeah, like so you come say what's up, chill. I'm very chill. You know, I don't bite. I'm cool. You know, come say hi.
That's right. And if you are online, you can check out tkjohnsonbooks.com. I have a link to all of our podcasts where you can watch a video version. I have resources and tools that my guests share. So I'll have STIXX's information, some of his music right there on the page. And then I'm going to take a spot for questions too. If you have questions for STIXX, if we get enough questions, I might invite him back to do another podcast and answer those.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll reach out to him, get those answers and post them as well. But follow STIXX, support him. What is one of the best ways as an artist that we can support you? Because obviously following someone on social media is really easy, but what's one of the
Yeah.
best ways to support you as an as an
As an
artist?
artist. No, yeah. I do get that question, and I feel like, to be honest, just being engaging, like with me, you know, honestly, it could be just talking to me, because the more we build and the more we get to know each other, and build more of a relationship than just a fan and artist type thing, I can then be willing. Then I feel free to be able to share my music with you, you know. But a big way, yeah, to support is definitely just staying, you know, on the loop of what's going on. You know, following is a big one, but being engaging in my like posts, being engaging in what's coming up next, you know, just being there. You know what I mean? Those are the biggest ways for sure. And you know, this lifestyle is hard, so it's like, you know, any way of supporting like that is cool. You know, even finances can be tough, but like that's also why the cool thing about COVID, for artists, is that like Spotify, SoundCloud, and I think one more, I don't remember which one, but they had like they added like contributor type like button
Yeah, I
on the
saw that
artist
and
profiles. Yeah,
that really surprised me. And I was so proud of them for it. I thought that was
yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
So I have my stuff on there. You know, if you guys do support what I do, and you guys want to continue to see more music and continue to see, you know, just more content, then that's just another spot for sure.
Mhm. All right. Well, thank you so much. Go give him a follow, reach out to him, go start a conversation. STIXX, thank you. I appreciate it so much. And hopefully you'll be a guest again soon on the
Hey,
expansion pack.
hopefully, I'm excited. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Expansion Pack podcast. For information about our guests, references, or resources mentioned in this episode, visit tkjohnsonbooks.com. Have a question for our host or guest? Visit their specific episode on the website to ask us. As you continue your day, don't forget to expand your life through listening to the stories around you. Thank you, and see you next time.